So you know who in the White House invited George Stephanopoulos into his Oval Office for an interview? And he has a lot of people concerned about his views on foreign governments who want to meddle in the election. Take a look.
Your campaign this time around, if foreigners, if Russia, if China, if someone else offers you information on an opponent, should they accept it or should they call the FBI?
I think maybe you do both. I think you might want to listen. There's nothing wrong with listening. If somebody called from a country, Norway, we have information on your opponent. Oh, I think I'd want to hear it.
You want that kind of interference in our elections?
It's not an interference. They have information. I think I'd take it.
So the FBI has kind of already said that they know Russia's planning to try to meddle in the election for 2020. Is he giving other folks the green light to meddle if they can by sort of welcoming all of this? Because it's not new. I mean, you know, he's encouraged it before.
Go ahead. Sorry. Look, I think he's done it before, and I think he's saying, I'll do it again if the chance comes up. I think it is treasonous. I think it is compromising. I think it is dangerous. I think it is wrong. It's illegal. And frankly, Congress needs to clarify it for him if it's not clarified enough that it is illegal. They need to pass legislation so that this does not happen and people clearly understand that it is not allowable. I think it's just so plain wrong.
When he realizes what he said, you know how he's always bragging that he won this election fair and square, that there was no help? Now he's really admitting that he got help. How does this impact his ego? You know what I'm saying? He totally denies that the Russians helped. Now he's saying, bring it on, and I brought it on also. So I'm wondering, and the other point I want to just make about Norway, he's obsessed with Norway because it's the whitest country in the world. It couldn't be whiter than Norway. And plus, Norwegians would never accept him. It's basically a socialist country.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't even think we need legislation for this because, Mr. President, it is illegal. It is already illegal to accept information from a foreign country to benefit yourself. It is already illegal. It's very clear.
U.S. in the Constitution?
Well, it's not only in the Constitution.
It's an election law.
U.S. law explicitly bans.
And by the way, if you've ever worked on any campaign before, everyone knows this.
U.S. law explicitly bans contributions from foreign nationals.
Right.
And federal election law states a foreign national shall not directly or indirectly make a contribution or donation of money or other thing of value in connection with any federal, state, or local election.
Right. And you're saying...
It's known.
Yeah.
If you've ever worked on a campaign, it's not new at all. In any ways, and people have tried to do it before, and I've said this many times on this show. If someone from any country, Norway, whatever, came to me and said, hey, Megyn, I have information on X opponent or X person, now anyone, you should immediately go to the FBI. It's very basic crap here, by the way, and I think that when you open up this Pandora's box in the way that he has, it's a very, very dangerous precedent. It is illegal, but I think he feels emboldened because the Mueller report came out and said no collusion. But I will say, when you have Lindsey Graham going on TV and saying the answer is no, that's it. And Lindsey Graham isn't always, you know, a lot of times he's on the same side as President Trump. So when you have Lindsey Graham this morning saying that, I think this was a huge mistake on President Trump's part.
But Lindsey Graham is also pointing to the Democrats. I don't want to read it, it's too long. He's basically going after the Democrats that they allowed the Steele dossier to...
Christopher Steele, yeah.
Christopher Steele. And it so happens that the Steele dossier was originated by conservatives. So what is he talking about? He talks out of both sides of his mouth, Lindsey Graham.
Here's the problem, though. The Mueller report clearly says that Russia interfered in this election. Russia meddled, and Russia tried to give information to Trump campaign through the Trump Tower meeting. At the same time, Mueller did not charge Trump. So they are interpreting this, including people like Rudy Giuliani, who you will remember just a week after the Mueller report came out, said he was going to Ukraine to try to find negative intelligence on Joe Biden's son. They are interpreting this as a blank slate, as a clean bill. Go do it. Get out of jail card. There's no problem. You can do it. And that's why I think there needs to be absolute clarification. Bipartisan. It shouldn't just be Democrats saying it's illegal. It should be Republicans.
But the part I don't understand, there is clarification. Sonny's a lawyer. We just talked about there's laws on the books. Like, it's very clear.
So why it's not clear to him?
But you know what? No, it is.
Well, but the law is the law.
It begs the question, what's going on? Because is this prelude
That could,
to
by the
a
way, could be the
coup?
question for the past 3
I think
years.
that's what's scary because
What's going on?
Do you remember
Well,
when he
yeah.
said if you have emails,
No.
bring them on? Remember when
he was-
Trump
Oh, yeah,
talked
the
about
rally,
Hillary's
right.
the
emails
rally.
at the rally?
If you can
Russia,
hear me.
if you can hear me.
Right.
I think that was another call. What we just saw with George Stephanopoulos. He said, "I would take it."
Right.
We've
Well,
got a 2020
but that's
election
what-
coming
but
up.
that's
I
what
think people
but-
need to hear
but
what
the
he just
question-
said.
But the question is, we know it's against the law. We know
We
it's
know it.
We know it. It's there. It's clear.
His FBI
So
director
why
said it.
isn't where is everybody? What's going
Mitch
on? Why
McConnell,
is
we're looking at you.
why is this happening? Why is this being
Maybe
allowed?
They're
because
allowing him
he's
to.
saying he would do it, but it hasn't happened yet. Maybe that's the logic.
But it
I
has
do
happened.
think it's very dangerous. And again, not. If anyone watched the show Veep, there was a storyline at the end of Veep that was about the Chinese government interfering in her election and getting her elected.
Right.
And I think art imitates life, imitates art, imitates life.
Right.
And I do think, as you're saying, it could be a signal that maybe they're like, hey, we're open to it. But again, there's a law on the books, so if anything is going on, I implore people on both sides to take action.
It makes me nervous because this
should make
to me
everyone nervous.
is a prelude, and I'm going to say it again, to a coup.
for 2020.
This is how coups happen. People say, "Oh, we're going to let this go." You know, that's just how people are. That's how this happens. This is how you
We're
wake up
watching it.
and
Now,
you're
I think-
in a new country that you don't recognize, but you're stuck in. And so I think that someone needs to be really, really clear about what it is to break the law, because if in fact he doesn't win in 2020, this to me is
Go to jail.
this is
Go to jail. Lock 'em
at
up.
least a trial. This is at least a trial.
I mean,
Yeah,
when you're talking about
you know.
coups and things like that, I mean, it's really like dystopian idea, and it's really petrifying,
we're
and that's
living-
why
we're living
the
it.
checks and balances should be put into place now.
Yeah,
it's kind of. I think it's everyone's.
Is
Mitch
that a-
McConnell
hell,
will look into
Is
everybody-
it.
that a call for impeachment?
Yeah.
Is that a call
Say
for
that
impeachment?
every day now.
No,
proceeding?
I'm
Is that a call for
saying
impeachment
that if he
proceeding?
does not win, because we heard Mueller say, "Listen, we cannot." We didn't feel we could set this in motion, bring charges because he's a sitting president. But once you're not the sitting president, I think a lot of this has to be looked at,
I think-
because this is, to me, if I broke this law, I'd be in deep doo-doo.
Yeah, well, that's why
I still
we
think there
that's
was
why
a
we called
roadmap
him.
for impeachment.
You wouldn't
Yes.
be, but you would never
If
do
I was
something like
president.
that.
No, I wouldn't.
So
No, but Nancy Pelosi could be pushed to impeachment now.
Well, but it
because
pushes-
Benedict Donald
But that's
has
not
really
gonna help.
stepped over the line.
Yeah, because he's
That-
saying he would do it again.
But pushing him towards impeachment,
Yeah. Yes.
is not
It's really
really going to help
bad.
if you can't impeach him.
But
why wouldn't
well,
he do it again if he did it already
Yeah,
and he
I'm
paid
sorry.
no legal consequence?
We got to go.
Right.
We'll go.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be right back.